Hello and welcome to Eat Sleep Code, the official Telerik podcast. I'm your host, Ed Charbeneau, and with me is my co-host, John Bristowe. How are you doing, John?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a while.
It has been a while. Let's start off with a little bit of space news, John. Have you
Sure.
heard about the space launch?
Evidently, there's something out there that we've launched. So
We're dropping a payload on the moon. It looks like.
mhm.
So I found this landing page that NASA's created, and I'll drop it in chat here. Sorry about the polymer effect today, but I don't have my second monitor set up. I just, oops, I put that in private chat. I just revamped my system, and I don't have it hooked up yet. Um, I found this nice landing page at nasa.gov, and it's the SLS Space Launch System landing page, and you can follow all the Artemis news from there. And I think it's really nice the way they have all of it laid out. It's pretty cool. One of the things that's really neat is if you click on the mission map, you can see exactly all of the stages of the mission in a nice infographic. I thought that was nice. So you can follow along at home as it does its mission. So we're going back to the moon.
About time.
Yeah, it's
I
only
want to I
been
want to see a moon base.
yeah. Yeah, we did it last time in a Hollywood studio anyway, so no harm, no foul.
Come on, come on.
I'm just kidding. I don't believe that, by the way. I do not believe that. We also have some announcements around conference stuff. Let's kick things off with a little bit of GitHub Universe. John, you posted this link, so just tell us a little bit about GitHub Universe.
Yeah. So GitHub Universe is GitHub's annual event featuring everything and anything GitHub related. Our company was there, Octopus Deploy, and we were one of the sponsors for the event. Had a great time there. Met lots of great customers. Some announcements came out of this, namely around Copilot, some
Hmm.
security features, innovations to actions, etc. The good thing about all these conferences now is all the content's available online, so you can actually check it out
Very
and take a
nice.
look at what's there. All these announcements were supplemented with blog posts as well. So I thought it was a great event. We had a lot of fun, as I said, and it's definitely something that I'll keep on my calendar for next year.
See some friends on the speaker list. Were you speaking at the event, John?
I was scheduled to, but I couldn't make it. My family was visiting me here in Australia, so we had someone
Ah,
who was
okay.
far better than me for speaking, which was James Chapmas, who's awesome. So he gave a bit of speaking there, gave a demo, and then we had some other folks give some presentations as well. So yeah, we got a chance. But more importantly, we were able to just be part of the event and the community there, talking to customers and asking questions and finding out all the great stuff around GitHub. So we're big
Yeah.
fans.
I see Seth Juarez, see Burke Holland in there. Lots of good folks.
Hmm.
Cool stuff.
Hmm.
There was also the .NET Conf uh, event last week. So I got to speak at that. It was a virtual event. So all of the content, like you said, with the GitHub conference there is all up online. So I just posted a link to that. They posted everything up on YouTube already, and you can look at all of those sessions. There are 88 30-minute sessions, John. That is an insane amount of
It seems
content.
like a reasonable number. Playing back at two
Yeah.
times speed, you'll be able to blow through them no problem. Any favorite sessions?
So this was interesting because they did like a 24-hour schedule. So they broadcast like all day, all night. So everybody from every corner of the world could tune in at their own leisure to see things. So I didn't get to see a whole lot of like 88 sessions. There was the What's New in Blazor and .NET 7 session that had Steve Sanderson. He's always
Nice.
fantastic to watch. He's really streamlined with his demos, and you get like a ton of information very quickly, but you don't ever feel left behind. So I always enjoy watching him speak. So he's talking about the latest WebAssembly stuff that's shipping with .NET 7. So make sure you check all of those out. Um, we have one more here. It's Octoverse. Octoverse. Is
Yes.
this another conference or is this something different?
It would be a good name for a conference, actually. No,
It would
Octoverse
be.
is GitHub. Another GitHub link. This is GitHub's
Okay.
summary report of state of open source via GitHub, and it's similar to some other reports you'll see online: state of JavaScript, state of CSS, state of whatever. This is their summary of what's been happening relative to GitHub over the past year. This has
Hmm.
been going on for about 10 years now. So every year it comes out, everyone likes to cite it, similar to the Stack Overflow survey. Some of the notable highlights that you mentioned there, are scrolling to there, 94 million developers are on GitHub, which is an
Okay.
astounding number. 90% of companies are using open source, 90% of Fortune 100 companies are using GitHub, and 413 million open source contributions in 2022. They break it down by categories. So they have a breakdown of the types of developers, what languages they're targeting, where they reside, what state or what sort of uh, way in which they're using GitHub, et cetera, et cetera. And they also provide a section on predictions. So just an interesting sort of summary of what's happening relative to GitHub. It's always nice. You can
Hmm.
always cherry pick whatever data you want there to supplement your argument, I guess. We should use C++ or we should use Go, or look at how many developers there are in South Africa, for example. Like there's any number of data
Yeah.
points that you
Some
can
nice
point
heat
to
maps
there.
here.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
This is
interestingly, I
really
mean,
good
India.
info.
No, yeah, no surprise. India is the fastest growing community at the moment. Lots of great representation across the various geo regions. Um, so yeah, just interesting to see kind of where folks are working, including a language breakdown. So they do a breakdown on what are the most popular languages, and Java continues to dominate JavaScript as well. And so they do a breakdown. It's sort of akin to the Stack Overflow survey you see come out every year.
TypeScript picking up some steam. Look at that.
Yes.
I always find it
So
interesting
yeah,
how
lots of
stuff.
data points.
You know what's
And
interesting? I
interestingly
don't
enough,
see on here, John.
HCL HCL is the fastest growing language at the moment. So if you scroll down just a little bit, HCL, which is HashiCorp configuration language, is growing year over year at
Hmm.
51%, which is pretty respectable compared to some of the other languages you see there. Some are well established, like TypeScript. Others not so much, like Rust. I would have
Yeah.
expected Go to be a little bit higher, to be honest, but HCL really, what that does is it underpins the prevalence of Terraform. I think being used in the industry at wide. So to HCL is the sort of language for describing config and state, for describing state through configuration, and it's used by Terraform, and so it really kind of underpins how popular Terraform is at the moment.
It was interesting to see both of these at about 50%, yet they're not high enough to rank in the top 10.
Oh, overall, yes. That's not rate of change. This is just general overall usage. So total,
Hmm.
so the totality of use versus the rate of change.
State of open source on GitHub.
Hmm.
Microsoft with VS Code at the top of the list.
Of
Azure
course.
documentation, Power Toys. Wow.
Mm.
Power Toys is a nice set of add-ons for Windows that you can grab. I talked to Jeremy St. Clair about that on my podcast not that long ago. So it was kind of an older tool. It's making a comeback. It looks like it's pretty popular, and that's
There you
because
go.
it's open source. I think they open sourced it. That's why it came back. People wanted it, and it's here again.
Mm.
Speaking of open source things, .NET 7 shipped last week. So
Yes.
.NET 7 is out. So big improvements with performance. Saw a lot of people posting new performance specs from existing applications. So they're benchmarking things and then going to .NET 7 and showing the delta. And it was a nice increase across things like HTTP response time, stuff like that. So ASP.NET Core has definitely seen some performance improvements. They also released .NET MAUI in .NET 7, so you can build web, desktop, and mobile applications with one code base. That's always very cool. Kind of going toe to toe with is it Flutter?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's also updates with let's see, I'm trying to find it here. Not a whole lot of new stuff in Blazor yet. They did release the ability to compile directly to WebAssembly. That could be pretty useful if you have some high intensity applications you want to run in the browser using .NET code. C# 11, F# 7 released. Let's see. What else did we have in here that's very notable? ML.NET 2.0 is another big one. So they've got the new automated builder, model builder, which is really cool. So if you've never checked it out, I suggest you do.
Yep.
It's a great way to get introduced to machine learning and try some of the challenges on your own. So you can go to Kaggle and check out some challenges that are publicly available online, get data, and kind of spin through it with the model builder, which is really neat. So you can come in with the UI, test out your theory on how to maybe predict something or look for anomalies, that sort of stuff. You can kind of just tab through the UI here, and it'll produce a model in C# for you. It's really, really
Nice.
powerful stuff.
I like
I've
it.
used it not professionally, but in some hobby stuff just to check it out, and it's really, really impressive. It saves you a boatload of time. I've actually written
Mm-hmm.
models by hand, and then once they released this automation tool, gone through and produced the same model in a matter of like 10 minutes rather than about 16 hours of coding. So that's really impressive.
It's just not fair.
It's not. um, this is a link from you, John. VHS. Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about
So I'm a
VHS.
big I'm a big fan of Charm. It's no secret there. These are the
Mm-hmm.
folks who are building a whole variety of terminal UI frameworks, trying to make SSH super simple to work with. This is the latest of tools that they've introduced called VHS. And what this allows you to do is basically record a shell interaction and then play it back. This is somewhat akin to, some folks may have heard of ASCII Cinema. It's sort of in the same vein as that, which is you download, you install this, you kick open a recording session, and then from there, you
Yeah.
simply just interact with your terminal UI app or CLI based application, and it allows you to record it and then replay it back. This is great for documentation, for demos.
Yeah.
Some folks use this to actually do pre-canned demos. So if you're worried about making typing mistakes, you can kick off a recording like this to show folks what actually occurs on the CLI without having to worry about making typing mistakes, etc. So definitely something worth checking out. So VHS, this is off the Charm Bracelet org on GitHub.
I like it. As somebody who does a lot of demonstrations, this seems pretty handy. As somebody who
It can be,
mistypes
yes.
things frequently, this seems
Yes.
pretty
Yes.
handy. I know I was doing some Electron demos, and there's an initialize command that you have to run
Okay.
against your project to convert it to an Electron app. So you do Electron init, and then you do electronize or electronify. That's the thing I never get right? So I always get an error, and then I have to go back and like look at the docs and see what the correct terminology is. It's either electrify or electronize,
Yes.
something like that. And I always get it wrong first time. Never fails. So this would be helpful.
Yes.
Some more release announcements. I don't dabble with Linux too often, but I have some friends that do, and they always have their favorite flavor of Linux to tell me all about, unsolicited. Tell me all about. you know those folks. You all have these friends. Don't deny it. Yeah.
No comment.
Kind of like I tell John about Blazor all the time, but you know. So Fedora Linux 37 is out. Mint is another good one. There's lots of good variations of Linux out there, but this one just released. So there's some new GNOME features inside of this release. There's admin improvements and some other stuff. So if you're into Linux, some exciting news there. Make sure you check that one out.
Awesome.
Thought I'd just throw a little Linux out there. It's been a while. Been a while since we showed them some love. Shall we talk about some AI, John?
Why not? I mean, NVIDIA just announced their earnings, so might be apt to talk about it.
Yeah, their earnings have been up and down, as most of the tech industry has recently. So I don't know if you're following any of the stock stuff. It sounds like you are, John, but it's been a rough ride this month. Been a real rough ride.
Just a tiny bit, just a little bit of change occurring, a little bit of volatility.
Yeah, I should have included some AR VR news, but it's kind of been a down subject recently.
It's probably a good thing you didn't.
We can at least talk about.
And by the way, I would
room.
like to just take this moment. I would love to just take this moment to say, I told you so. I told you so.
Yeah.
Just basking in the I told you so light right now.
It was like at the tune of about $4 billion or something like that for Meta that they lost due to their AR EVR endeavors. So they ended up laying off, I think it was like 11,000 people or some ridiculous number of people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. Very sad news. Very
It
sad
is.
news.
It is. I'm not. Yeah. To be clear, it's the technology that I disagree with. That's the only thing.
Snapchat's been struggling. Yeah, there's some others too. And NVIDIA, I think, took a little hit because they're in that space, and Microsoft as well. With the HoloLens, they haven't been finding market fit for this stuff yet.
But you know what's interesting about NVIDIA is they're still crushing it in the data center. So
yeah, which is what this is about. Yeah. So Microsoft and NVIDIA are teaming up to build a quote AI supercomputer. And what this means is they are building a large scale server platform with many NVIDIA GPUs. And then they are going to lease this out so you can tap into it through Azure. So
all the game players right now are just like, dude, can you imagine the frame rate you would get?
Right? Can it play Doom, John?
Yeah. Does it play Crysis is all I care about.
Yeah. So the idea here is, you want to train an AI model. We talked about, .NET ML, and there's also Azure ML. So you have your Azure account. You want to train a model. You go into your Azure account. You start working on your model, and then when you hit train, it goes into this NVIDIA supercomputer and takes off a hunk of this high bandwidth GPU platform that they've built and builds your model for you. So
it's amazing. We've gone back to time slicing with mainframes. It's just cloud and supercomputers now.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's for lack of a better comparison. I mean, it really is similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just more modernized version of what you just said. And AI is kind of a big deal. I mean, got one more.
Just a little bit.
2 more links here. Like, these are some things that you can do with AI. This is another. I did include one AR link. Okay. I thought this one was neat. You can use this app to copy, cut, and paste from the real world into your documents online. So I don't know if you've ever wanted to do that, but I thought this was pretty cool.
Well, iOS has a bit of this capability built in today. If you go to a photo, you can copy and paste various parts of the photo. It will try and smart detect those things, but obviously this is capturing live content.
So it has captured and isolated, and what I mean isolated, if you talk to somebody who uses Photoshop, like when you're isolating something, you take the background out of it, and then you used to have to at least manually do some work in Photoshop to do this type of thing.
Well, you didn't have LiDAR in your cameras before, so now you do. So LiDAR is enabling a lot of this.
Yeah, so they're snapping stuff right out of the real world and then going over to the
Hmm.
computer and pasting it into Photoshop out of, ironically, just dropping
It's
it
a good
right into the
demo. I
Photoshop
like it.
document. It is a good demo. It's pretty cool. That one is called, let's see, it's in the link here. It is called, shoot, what's the
Something.
name of the product? Huh? Am I missing it?
They should call it copy and paste your life or something. I don't know.
There
Copy
is
and
an
paste
actual
TIL.
AR copy paste. Oh, there's a repo up on GitHub. There's a commercial of it. Clip Drop. That's what it's called. Clip Drop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they actually released a commercial product of it.
Hmm.
So I wonder if some of this is being leased like behind the scenes of some of the camera apps where you could like take people out of your photos and stuff, or if that's an entirely different tool. But still very cool nonetheless. So Clip Drop.
Nice.
Check that out. And then finally, while we're talking about AI and AI stuff, this I don't know if many people are talking about this yet. So we've talked about this on the show, John, in a kind of startup scenario where people were
Hmm.
building Dolly. Uh, there it is, Dolly. So remember when we were talking about Dolly, people were going
Yes.
on. First of all, you had to
Machine
like
generated
compile it
art.
yourself and all that, and then they went
Hmm.
ahead and they put it out there for people to test, like in the browser, and like everybody's going in and typing weird stuff and making art and posting it on Twitter, and then I think they closed that beta down. Well, it looks like Microsoft is leasing that technology and putting it
Okay.
into a real world product, and this is going to be called Microsoft Designer. Um, and this is going to be part, I think, of the Office suite. I'm guessing at this point that it's going to be part of the Office suite, but this is going to help make um, like design materials. So you want to make a
Anything
banner,
that can make
poster,
PowerPoint less boring.
PowerPoint images. You need to make some cover art for some tweets that you're sending out, graphics for
Sure.
your website. This is an AI designer. So you go in, you kind of hash out your idea through text. You can combine it with your own images and media, and then it will create uh, a design for you. Now,
All I want is the interface where you ask the questions or you issue the commands to be built with Clippy. That's all I ask.
there is a wait list. It is an early access program. This isn't something that is in any kind of real release yet. It's definitely a real world thing. Like it's not vaporware, but you do have to get on a wait list to try it. So it's very early alpha beta type of thing. So if that interests you, maybe drop on the wait list and see if you're given access to it. Let us know how it goes.
No computer in the world is capable of making my slides any more interesting. It's impossible. It is an NP complete. It is NP complete. You cannot do it in a reasonable
So
amount of time.
with two people in my family that are actually designers and artists, it'll be interesting to see how this works. Um, Knowing from experience, working with them, there's people that think that a tool like this is going to make them a designer. And they're like, if I could just use some words to describe what I want. But a lot of times, what I find is people really just don't know what they want. They don't. And they're going to put stuff into this tool and they're going to get graphics out and they're going to be like, yeah, it's still not what I want. And then they will hire a designer and the designer will create something magnificent and they'll turn around and go, yeah, that's what I wanted all along. Like, that's like a pet peeve of mine. It's like, that's exactly what I was imagining. It's like, if that were true, then you wouldn't have needed our help. But I digress. I think it's still a cool prototyping tool at the very least. So we'll see how this works out. All right, take care, everybody. We will see you soon. We'll probably be back next week with some shows, and stay tuned to the channel for some other great stuff. Take
Cool.
care.